Welcome to the Canadian Business in the United States video series. I'm your host, Sammy Elkhayyat, and I will help you to better prepare for your upcoming business experience with our neighbor. Today's video lecture will discuss two very important issues with doing business in the States: cultural shock and business dinner activities. As you probably know, cultural shock is the difficult experience which can occur when one's expectations do not match his or her reality in a new culture. While you may think that the geographical closeness to Canada will mean that the culture is relatively similar, there are many possibilities for you to experience cultural shock, and it is important to prepare for these possible situations. Furthermore, two of the areas where you may experience this cultural shock the most are business dinners and activities, and this lecture will focus on the issues of cultural shock and business dinners and activities. Culture shock. The first aspect of our discussion tonight will be culture shock. The differences between culture in Canada and the United States may be difficult to cope with at times, and it is important to prepare and remain flexible through these moments in order to lessen the negative effects of culture shock. Some suggestions for reducing the effects of culture shock include finding a cultural mentor, remaining flexible and patient with both yourself as well as your hosts, without withholding judgments about his new culture and people, recognizing that your negative feelings are to be expected, and maintaining a sense of humor about both yourself as well as the environment. Typical behavior in the U.S. This could be something that we go through every day and don't even realize doing it, because it's only normal here. But in other countries, it's not tolerated. Watch this next video for a clear idea.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey,
Sammy Elkhayyat.
Zach Thomas.
Nice to meet you.
Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, hello, how you
How are
doing?
you, my man?
Good, good to see you.
Come on in, man.
Thank you.
Finding a cultural mentor is important for developing a connection to understanding aspects of the culture which you may not be privy to as a cultural outsider. Next, it is important to remain flexible and withhold judgment so that you do not dismiss this culture or its people before properly understanding the situation. Furthermore, now that you have expect these types of situations to occur, you can prepare for normal feelings which accompany cultural shock, and hopefully you'll be able to keep a sense of humor about the entire experience. Thus, if you find yourself beginning to think negatively and frown, it is important to try consciously to make yourself relax and smile, so that you can remember that you are in control of how you interpret your cultural experience in the States. Business dinners. The next important aspect of the lecture tonight is the issue of business dinners in the United States. There are many cultural differences between Canada and the States, and some of these differences can become very apparent in the environment of a dinner, particularly at a person's home. McLean's website lists several tips for Canadian businessmen who are invited to a dinner. Some tips to business dinners in America when invited to them are to be on time for dinner and no more than 10 minutes late for small gatherings. You may be told to make yourself at home, and you're expected to do so, and to ask for anything you require. Or you may be given a tour of the house. American table manners involve holding the fork in the right hand and using it to eat. Hold it tines up. The knife cuts and spreads things. To use it, switch the fork to your left hand to eat. Switch your fork back to your right hand.
Thank you for having me for your dinner, sir.
Hey, anytime, man. Appreciate you
It
for
was a
coming.
wonderful dinner. Appreciate you a lot.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
Thank you, thank you.
All right,
Well, yeah.
ready?
Yeah. Here, I'll help you out with the
What is
dishes. Help you out. Thank you.
For business dinners in Canada, it is common to be more than 15 minutes late for a small gathering. It is important to be more punctual in the States. Also, while it is customary in Canada to offer with helping to clean up after the meal, it is unusual in the States to make this request. And if the dinner is at the house, then one should feel as a guest without responsibility and be prepared for a full tour of the home. It may seem strange to tour someone's home, but this practice is common in the States with new guests. Activities in the business world. The final topic of our lecture tonight is the issue of business activities in general in the United States. Perhaps the most important of business activities in America involves communication, both verbal and nonverbal. It is important to understand these potential areas for problems, so we will discuss a list of verbal and nonverbal communication which should be considered during your business experience in the States. This list also comes from McLean's website. States: avoid anything that might be misinterpreted as sexual harassment. Do not boast your accomplishments and achievements, salary, income, or belongings. Do not stand too close to someone you're speaking with, lest you impose on their sense of personal space. Therefore, it is important to be mindful of physical or verbal communication which may be taken as sexual harassment. This issue is very important in the business world of the United States. Next, it is important not to discuss personal success to such an extent that it would be interpreted as boasting, because the culture of the United States is very agnostic to this type of proud emotion. Finally, the people of the United States are very concise of the space within 3 feet of themselves, and it is important not to invade this personal space when you are speaking with someone.